working with Michael?
Actually, 2008.
And did he come to you with
No, he didn't come. No, he called.
He would call you?
Yeah, he called.
What time would he call? At all hours or?
He would call all hours, but he called the first time when he connected, because I've known them since they were little guys. I mean, not little guys, but teens. Jackson 5. You know, it's Jackson 5 in the 70s.
Right.
And so he called to ask if I would be willing to consult with him, or you know, to be his consultant, if I would come to be with him. And I went. He sent for me, and I went to Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. So you did go meet in person.
Oh yeah.
Who was he with?
At Carrollwood, and at Carrollwood too.
Okay. What were the issues? Did he have certain problems he wanted to discuss, or?
Well, I don't necessarily deal with people when they have problems. When people come to me, they don't talk. I do all the talking, and I give as God gives to me. So when I'm finished, whatever they thought their issues were, or whatever they were looking for, I don't deal with people when they come looking for certain things, or asking a lot of questions, because the work that I do, I don't allow people to feed me through questions.
So what'd you see in him, or what'd you feel, or what God tell you?
Well, told me his title. Everybody that comes to me gets a title. And we reference it as their chapter in the Book of Life. And so Michael's chapter was, and I didn't really have a thought about it, or even think about it, until after a lot of the other interviews, like for Today and Dateline and all that, and I hadn't thought about it. So what I did think about was, I said, oh my God, Michael didn't sign the big book, because I didn't take the big book. The big book and all those books down there have been across this planet. So, and when people come, this is the one that they're signing now, that one up there. And I said, oh, I didn't take the book. Michael didn't sign the book. And when I say spirit, that means the Holy Spirit. Just look in your journal, which is this one right here. And I went to it, and in here, because when I went to the bathroom, in here Michael had written to June. It was Friday, May 9th, 2008, to June. Today was like being baptized in the sea of life, the most purifying of waters. You are a gift from God, and all your days on this planet continue to be blessed. I love you, Michael. And the other thing that was interesting is I hadn't even thought about it, because if I had thought about it, I would have spoken about it on the interviews that I've done.
Right.
And Michael's title was, what does that say?
This is it?
Yeah. And I have over 45 plus years of journals, every day, day by day, and this one is Tuesday, August the 14th, and you're in this one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So what'd you see? I mean, what was he in? What was his state when you?
He was phenomenal. You know, it was Michael. Brother Amir came to pick me up at the airport and took me to the house, and it was Michael and his children. And we had a fun time. We had pizza, and when he received his reading, his information, Blanket was with us, because he thought the children, and I love children, so nothing bothers me when I'm doing what I gotta do. If the phone rings, it doesn't matter. You know, somebody gotta pee, they can get up and go to the bathroom. It doesn't stop anything. You know, and so I told him, I said, Blanket can stay with us. And he sat right with us. And then after we had pizza, and went into his room, and we had some of the same toys, because any toys that you see around here, these are mine. So Michael, interestingly enough, we had some of the same toys, especially our little alien here. Ta-da!
Was the only time that he expressed, problems, was that like the tape that you played where he said he was worried about his advisor?
Well, we talked about it then, and I mean, that was the only time. I mean, Michael, he would call, we would talk on the phone, and for some people who questioned whether that was Michael, oh yeah, that's Michael. Mm-hmm. And Michael knew that I was recording because he got them all.
All the tapes?
Yeah.
Was he concerned about more than one person, or just the man that you talked about?
Now, see, I just read that Whitney piece, so I know how you write. But I mean, you were very thorough. Yeah, he had concerns about other people, and we discussed him changing his whole life, which that was also a part of the Today Show interview with Jeff Rosen, and they didn't put everything in there, of course, because they couldn't, but he had concerns. Yeah, he had lots of concerns, and one of the things that he had to do was change everything, and he was in the process of doing that. And they asked me, well, was Michael trying to get his business together? I said, no, he wasn't trying, he was doing it. So when Tomei hopped up on that podium after Michael's death, that was like really, because he had nothing to do with Michael. Mm-hmm. He shouldn't have been up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was he talking about the tour that he was going to do?
We discussed that. We also discussed Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, he liked that, but that hadn't started yet.
No, but he was told that it was going to be because I told him.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say? Well,
I told him that he would be, God, what was it? That it was going to be something I don't remember the exact words, but something going to be really, really big and in Vegas, and it would go all over the planet and had to do with his life, and that his life actually, he was being redeemed. His name was being redeemed because there had been so many individuals, so many liars, schemers, and scammers, and humans who had no ethics or integrity, who did whatever they could come up with to ruin his precious name. And so he was told at that time, which was Friday, May 9th, 2008, that his name would be redeemed. And he wanted to know what that meant. And so when people also come, they have words that they receive words that they have to check in the dictionary. Because sometimes people think they know the meaning of every word. And it's like, no, you don't. But that's part of their work, So it's like you have to check this word in the dictionary. But my work is exceptionally thorough, very concise, but it's really a lot. And so he would call me. He said, June, it's too much. It's too much. I said, well, honey, that's why you're told to listen to your recording during your quiet times. Mm-hmm. When you're away from any and all things that you consider distracting or distractive to your concentration as well as your consecration.
Did you talk to him about his family? Was he getting along with his family?
We talked about all that, at different times. It's not that. I mean, that just wasn't the first time.
What did he say about it?
You're quite jovial, even while you're delving, my brother. Just smiling,
No.
He loves his mother. He loves his children. He did not like his father. Uh-huh. In the house in Vegas, at that time, Tomei was he was very fearful of Tomei. Even though Tomei had told him that he didn't want anything. I said, there's not anybody that doesn't want anything. And he said, Tomei said, well, he has his son, he has his wife. Tomei and but he didn't want anything from Michael. I said, there's not anybody that's dealing with you that doesn't want something, except me, of course. You know, and I say I didn't want anything because I have loved Michael ever since they did I Want You Back. So before I moved where I am now, we had a place, we had a prayer room, and all sorts of people, including Ron Brown, Honorable Ron Brown, who is no longer on this planet, Alex Haley, a whole lot of people, you know. Wow. Mother ain't no joke, you know. And then I have proof and evidence of all this.
Hey, was he excited about reuniting the team that had helped him before, like John Branca and Frank DeLeo, and did he talk about them?
He was looking for entirely new people.
Did he talk about them by name or not?
Nope.
Okay.
Because we mentioned various individuals' names, but he never mentioned them. Never mentioned Mr. DeLeo, never mentioned Attorney Branca, never mentioned John McClain. But some of the times when we discussed everything that he was getting together, because the man, and he told me, the guy from AEG,
Randy Phillips,
came to Las Vegas to meet with him. And so they discussed whatever had to be discussed, and I'm the one that told Michael that he had to leave Vegas and come to LA where everything is happening, you know, because he wanted to get into, he was interested as known to get involved with films and to really work and be where the business activities are. In other words, where individuals with whom he has worked or will work are located. So this was a very, LA was a more concise place for him to come to start working on everything new.
You didn't see the tragedy that was about to happen?
Of course I saw it.
What'd you see?
I was on Carolwood when I saw that in April 13th.
What'd you see?
I saw, wow.
That's
you really something.
I know. I mean,
what did you see?
Yeah.
He was receiving his information, and at the time that he was receiving it, I was sitting on the floor. We were very comfortable. He had on his pajama bottoms and his white T-shirt, and we were in his screening room. And as I was sitting in front of him, and everything was very calm, very relaxed, very peaceful. And I looked at him, and then in his eyes, because there's individuals. Have you ever seen anybody when they're getting ready to die? Have you ever seen that? Have you ever?
Not right before, no.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes they talk about the eyes being set, and that means they just set. There's no activity or anything. And Michael's eyes, they set before me, and I saw it, and I was determined that I wasn't going to make any different move or anything where he would, you know, kind of be like, oh, what are you saying, June? What's going on? So I saw it, and it was very quick. And within my mental body, the whole of my being, I was praying. I said, when it first happened, I heard it, and they said, we know something they don't know, June. And I said, oh God, please don't let him die. Let him live, don't let him die. And then it's like in a blink of an eye, and Michael looked at me and he said, so June, how do you do it? I said, same way you do it, same way you do. We rise to the occasion, no matter what the circumstances are. I said, we rise to the occasion, we can fall apart later. So, and that night he was supposed to have a very late night meeting, and I was concerned for his well-being and his that he needed rest and everything. think maybe I've used the word that he was frail, but not. He was frail. I'm very conscientious regarding words, but I knew that he was tired, and my concern for him was that he would rest. So he said, "June, let me show you something." So he had his cell phone, and he was texting. So he showed his. He was showing his. He said, "I don't have to have the meeting." I said, "Perfect. Now you can rest. Now you can get your rest. You can relax and everything. You don't have to have that meeting." So I don't know who was supposed to come that night. It was the 13th of April, and Michael was very pleased with the house too.
Carol.
And his mother had been there. I don't know if he said his father, and she liked the house. It was very warm, very comfortable, very homey, and so was the Las Vegas house. It was a home where children lived. And actually, when I got there, we were supposed to get there. We had our time for in the morning, and I said, Michael's going to change the time. So Brother Amir called. He said, "Yes, ma'am, Mr. Jackson." I said, "I know he wants to change the time." He said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, can you come this evening?" And I said, "Yeah," because normally I don't read when it's dark, but
Why?
For him.
Why not?
Because, hey, dark time is my time.
Oh, I got you.
I don't talk to anybody after 7 either. I said,
Sure.
if somebody's dead, they'll be dead the next day. So,
So was he excited about the concert tour, or what did he feel?
He was, he asked if I would go with him. Would I come to London with him? I said, of course I will.
Were you going to go?
Would I have gone?
You were going to,
Of
right?
course I would have gone. However, it just wasn't to be.
Yeah. Was he?
And you've seen that clip of when he got out of that black vehicle?
I think so.
That black SUV, whatever the car was, when he went to make the announcement, when they showed red, when they and he was walking like this.
Yeah.
And people were saying, that's not Michael, because Michael never walked like that. That was an impersonator. I said, yeah, that was him. Because when I saw it, it still wasn't even resonating about This Is It. It was what This Is It was the name of his tour. But it hadn't resonated that was his first chapter. But anyway, and he named his tour after his first chapter. And when I saw him, I said, baby got swag. And because he and I talked about all sorts of things, civil rights, racism, humans who are so mean, and why they're so mean, and humans who do all sorts of actions and activities of enmity and jealousy and all that. So when he walked like that, people were... various people, his fans, Michael doesn't walk like that, It's like, he walked like that because I told him, I said, honey, the young president has swagger. He said, he's got swagger, June? I said, yeah, honey, you got swagger. He said, I got swagger? I said, yeah, you got swagger, honey. So he swagged out of there. That's like, black men, they dap, it's like rhythm,
Yeah.
And so he did it.
So what do you think he would think of all the things that have happened, with his family recently? And
Michael's not into that. Michael left money, even though it was 2000, that will that they, had 2002. But I really, for everything that Michael was doing and getting together, I believe that he was creating all things new because we discussed it. So, if he had a new will and didn't turn up or whatever, I know Michael moved away from his longtime accountant, some of his longtime accountants, and changed them a couple times. And he was just changing everything. So I have no idea with whom he was working. A couple people We discussed about him being with a new business team. One he didn't trust implicitly, and another one he did.
That was Tomei who he didn't trust.
No, no. Tomei was very controlling.
Yeah.
He didn't want people to come to Michael's house, including his family, and Michael felt that Mr. Tomei was ostracizing him and keeping him from his family. It's like a person who's abusive, an abusive man who will move his wife or his woman away from any and everybody who loves her or could give her some information when they see things is not right. So actually the one that he trusted very much, of course, was his mother. But for a business,